this provision correctly.
Again,
With that in mind, do we not put in there then, subject to the city's interpretation, not the owners?
I don't think that's necessary. That's not necessary. This is our ordinance, and I think our interpretation is implicit in the language.
Okay, all right, thank you so much. Okay, we will move on to old business on section item C2 to discuss revisions of proposed alcohol beverage license fee. Mr. Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Pertinent to the previous conversation, staff did recommend some increases in our current alcohol license fees. The city of Clarkston has not raised the rate of fees for alcohol license in over 12 years. That's created a gap in the current rate of fees as compared to other cities. The newly minted Alcohol Review Committee presented the proposed fee increases to the mayor and council, and the members of the ARC committee are now proposing, based on the discussion at the stakeholder meeting, a revised rate of fees as a result of that discussion. And what you have in your package now is a revised table of fees that list the other cities and their fees in the appropriate areas. And you see that the proposed Clarkston fees are now reduced. They would represent a slight increase from our current rates. And as you see there on the table, roughly about a $250 in most cases increase that we're recommending in those areas. Let me just point out the category of wine, beer and malt beverages. Beer, wine, and malt beverages are three separate categories. I've had some discussions with council people, and I've also checked with staff, and there's no businesses that have just a beer license or just a wine license. So I think it makes sense to just sort of combine those to one license, beer, wine, and malt beverages, and set that fee at $1,000. And that would be staff's recommendation.
Thank you, Ms. Parker. Any discussion?
I know that we've done, when we've discussed this fee schedule, we were saying that it's probably most appropriate to compare ourselves with Stone Mountain, just in terms of the size of their budget, demographic, etc. I do notice that they cite kind of a comparable amount under the section regarding retail dealer consumption on premises. It's just the lion's share that stakeholders represented in a recent meeting. Under Stone Mountain, they actually cite a rate for beer, wine, and liquor all combined. Is that something that we could consider considering? Speaking to combining some of the other categories under that heading, might we also consider that all of the license for the other types of alcoholic beverages could also be lumped in the cost for the distilled spirits license?
I'm sure that's something you could consider. That would, if you do the math, that would represent about a $1,000 reduction as compared to our proposed rates. You see, currently what we have, it would be assuming that you had beer, malt, and wine. That's $750, and distilled beverages are $2,000. So currently, those combined would be $2,750 compared to $2,800 at Stone Mountain.
Right.
If you go with the proposed, the total would be $3,500 versus $2,800. Yeah.
Anyone? Yeah, go ahead.
I was one of the ones that made the recommendation that we do like Chambly and Doraville and others have done, where we combine. It's less headache, it's less administrative headache for our record keepers. It's just simpler. I've never been to a place that doesn't sell wine that also sells beer. Why are we making more difficult, the administration of the licenses? So combine them. You know, wine, beer, and malt beverages, just have the one.
It is, it's already combined here.
Well, you don't need the other two, I'm just saying there's the
Oh,
one.
I see what you mean, you don't need the separate wine or separate beer. Well, what, if you have some of the shops that literally just sell beer, like for instance, your grocery stores, like Thrift Town, he just sells beer.
He sells wine. I thought wine.
Yeah, now he just sell wine, but he used to just sell beer. And said, what if owner just wanted to sell beer?
Would just be the flat price.
Talking about the consumption.
Yeah.
So in other words, you would just charge him a flat price of $2,800.
Yeah.
This is under consumption on the premises that we're talking about now. We're not
Just
talking
the
about
wine, beer and malt, beer, wine and malt. I mean, I don't understand the point of separating all those out. Nobody just sells beer at a bar or a
You're talking
restaurant.
about bar.
Well,
But don't we have to have ordinances in place to help the business owners that just sell beer?
No, it's a flat fee, they make their choice.
Well, that's what we're saying, we don't want to charge them for something they're not even selling.
A restaurant that doesn't sell wine and just sells beer?
No, I'm not talking about a restaurant, I'm talking about.
I am.
Yeah, I know you are, but I'm saying, if you take it out of here, that doesn't give anybody else the opportunity just to get a beer license. You understand what I'm
In the
saying?
interest of time, I think I can clarify this.
Okay.
We're talking about two different categories. One is just the sale and original package, okay? And so I think the comment is, if you've got a convenience store that's selling wine or beer, most of the time, they sell wine and beer. And I checked with our city clerk, and we have no retailers that only have a wine or only have a beer license. And so I think that makes sense. That's for package sales. Now, consumption on the premises. So the question is, do we have any restaurants that only sell wine or that only sell beer? If not, then we should consider combining them, or not. And so I think that's more of a question for consumption on premises than package stores. And so let me ask the city clerk, do we have any restaurants that sell for consumption that have either only beer or only wine? Right. And so given current practices, I think it also probably would make sense to combine those as well.
It's less record keeping,
Right.
easier to keep track of.
Okay, right, good recommendation.
What, may I ask one quick clarification? If you could just explain the last row here under distilled spirits wholesale dealer within city, outside of city, what does that mean? The very last, yeah, the very last row within the table itself, not the application fee. What does that mean? Within city, outside of city?
If we had someone that had a location that was a distiller that was within the city, then there would be a much higher fee, $5,000. We don't have any. So outside would be if they're, either like Eagle Rock and.
Microbrewery.
Yeah.
Oh, microbrewery. Okay, it says distilled spirit, so I wasn't sure what that meant.
Okay, all right, thank you. Do we have any comments from our public? All right, seeing none, we'll move on.
I got one.
Got a minute and a half.
Thank you so much. As we try to move our city forward and prepare for the future, I think that we should consider having a separation with the wine and beer separated out. Why? Because there may be someone who just wants to sell wine and not sell beer or any other alcohol. Because it does, there's a lot of record keeping to that, just like you said, but it'll bring another class of people who just drink wine into their premises. Think about that as we move forward. Also, I like that we are trying to combine the malt beverages together. Do we talk about the distilled spirits? I don't think I have the same sheet that you guys have. Do we talk about the distilled spirits and how we were going to handle that? What was the proposed fee on that, please?
I think that Diane was recommended to combine all three of them.
With the liquor, no, I don't think she said that liquor would go in with the beer and the wine. So I just want to make sure we're in clear understanding.
Distilled spirits, the current rate is 2,000.
Mhm.
The proposed rate is 2,500.
Okay,
No, she doesn't.
I have an older one. So this is a little bit of my confusion. Because our current was 500 for the wine and 500 for the beer and malt beverages and 750 for all three. So now we're bringing that up to 3,000 and a proposed to combine.
No, but for, if wine is separate, it's 750. If beer is separate, it's 750. If we combine, if they're combined and we eliminate those two separate categories, then the new the current category of beer, wine, and malt beverages is $1,000, up from 750. For distilled spirits, currently is 2,000. The proposed rate is 2,500. So a $250 increase on all of those categories, with the exception of hard liquor,
Rosemary?
and it would be $500.
Thank you. I'm still trying to pull my seconds together, Mr. Mayor. Also, as we venture into this, what we would like you to consider is the ability that you don't have to raise them at all. That you can keep the prices the same. You can do the combination or anything thereof. Remember that we are in hard economic times, and that would be an impact to our businesses as well. So consider the ability not to raise the fees at this time and maybe raise them at a later date. I'd like to throw that out.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
That's time. That's it. We're moving on to the next item. All right, we're moving on to business administration. We're on to agenda item D1 to discuss the RFQ for City Hall Annex General Contractor. Mr. Barker.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. This agenda item is related to the City Hall Annex project, and in order to allow the city to determine the most qualified and responsible general contractor, a uniform evaluation procedure will be applied to evaluate those general contractors and general contractors associated with subcontractors designed to be pre-qualified to submit competitive bid proposals for the work on this project. So only those general contractors and general contractor teams that meet the established criteria will be included on a final shortlist of pre-qualified individuals or firms invited to bid on this. So in other words, since this is a unique project, renovation of the historical structure, the process that we chose to take was we wanted to make sure that firms were pre-qualified first. We wanted to make sure that those firms had the relevant background and experience dealing with this sort of project. And so we have asked for requests for qualifications. We've received those today. We will review those requests for qualifications. And then a short list of qualified firms will then be provided bid packages and invited to bid on this document. Since we've already advertised this particular project, on the second step, no advertising will occur. But we've already advertised and we've selected a short list of qualified bidders. The city will have, the important thing to know is that the city has the option to negotiate a scope and cost with a selected vendor as long as we negotiate those same points with all of the shortlisted general contractors. And you see there listed the 6 general contractors that have submitted bids this afternoon. You also see on the next page our timelines for our next step, and I'll let you read that at your leisure. And so from this point, the project team, which consists of the architect, the landscape architect, the program manager, and the city manager, we will evaluate the the RFQs, and then we'll come back next Tuesday with a short list of qualified general contractors that will then be eligible to bid this project. So we'll just be asking you next Tuesday to vote to approve the short list of qualified contractors.
Thank you, Mr. Parker. Any discussion? Seeing none, we can move forward. We're gonna move to agenda item B2. It's a RFP for civil engineering design services for stormwater improvements. Mr. Parker?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. City staff continues to show progress with improvements to the city's stormwater infrastructure. Deficiencies within the stormwater system continue to be identified and repaired by our staff as our budget allows. There are two specific stormwater improvement projects that were identified through complaints from the community, site evaluations during storm events, and deficiencies noted in the